Public Health. And I'm joined today by several colleagues from the HPM department, and I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves now.
Hello, I'm Kathy Bullenzine, and I'm the Academic Advisor for Health Policy and Management.
Hi, I'm Anna Wegman. I'm a current HPM student.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Blake. I'm a faculty member in the Department of Health Policy and Management. I also direct the Masters of Public Health and the Masters of Science of Public Health programs. You'll hear us refer it to as the MPH or the MSPH program. So welcome.
And we are glad that you're all here with us today. Just a few logistics up at the top. We are recording this and we'll post this to our YouTube channel. So if you didn't catch anything or you want to go back and review something, we'll be emailing out the link to this to all registrants. So that way you guys can go back and rewatch as needed. We are going to have time for Q&A. What we're going to do is we're going to go through the presentations first, and then up in the upper right-hand corner, you can see where my cursor is. You should see a section titled Questions. Feel free to type your questions in that throughout the presentation, and then at the end we'll go through, read them aloud, and address as many questions as we can throughout this hour. And then we'll also leave you with all of our contact information, so if you want to reach out directly after this, you can certainly do so, and we hope that you do. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our presenters, and we'll go ahead and get started.
Thank you, Emily. Again, this is Dr. Blake from the Department of Health Policy and Management. We're really happy that you're on the webinar today, and we're very excited to let you know a little bit more about the Department of Health Policy and Management. So the next few slides will give you some orientation to our department, but also the field of health policy and management. We often have students who have come from a very sort of interdisciplinary background, whether pre-med or the sciences, and even some social science and liberal arts background. And wherever you have been that brings you to this field, we welcome you, and we acknowledge that you're in the right place because we have such an interdisciplinary nature to our work and to this department. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background first about the department, tell you sort of what our orientation is in terms of our approach to the curriculum, and also give you a little bit of background about the faculty. And then I'll spend some time over the next few slides really giving you some concrete information about the two different master's programs that we have, as well as some of the requirements that you will have for your culminating or capstone experience, as well as your practicum, which is your sort of field experience. So for the first thing I want to mention is that health policy and management, it is truly an interdisciplinary field. It is focused certainly on health policy, healthcare management, but we also address health services research. And in this day and age, this is a really important and timely field to be in, given the changing healthcare system. Obviously, you know of the different proposals to reform our healthcare system, and this is a wonderful opportunity to be in a department where you're learning about those changes and understanding the implications of those changes on healthcare for Americans in this country. So our curriculum really is interdisciplinary in nature. We provide students with a real comprehensive background in both the conceptual and analytic approaches that are necessary to understand and improve the health status of individuals and populations. But we also focus a lot on the provider side and understanding how people access health care through that delivery system. Our department is also by nature very interdisciplinary. Our faculty, we have about 20 faculty in all, including full-time faculty and our part-time or adjunct faculty. The background of our faculty, it's really important that we are interdisciplinary because we bring to the classroom and to our own research a very interdisciplinary and widespread knowledge of this field. So our faculty are health economists. We have a faculty member who is a sociologist. We have faculty in political science, public policy, and real traditional health services research. We also have a few faculty that are physicians, and we have a physician that is a psychiatrist and who leads our Center for Behavioral Health Studies. Mental health is a very big part of his work. So I want to talk a little bit about the programs that we offer in health policy and management, and I'll refer to our department as HPM moving forward. So your choices in master's programs are essentially the Master's of Public Health program and a Master's in Science of Public Health program. Our MPH program consists of 2 years or 1 year a track. So for a 2-year track, if you were here interested in staying for a sort of traditional master's program, you have the option to select either a policy or a healthcare management track. If you decide to get your MPH in 1 year, your only option is our accelerated management track. You essentially complete the program in 3 semesters. Anna, who is here with us today, can certainly answer any questions that you have about that experience. She is on the 12-month accelerated management track. This program consists a total of 42 credit hours. So that means you complete 42 credit hours either in 2 years or in that 12-month accelerated track. Both of the sort of traditional 2-year and the 12-month track require a capstone, which is our culminating experience. It is a capstone is essentially a course in which you take that really brings all of the curriculum together. You usually have a sort of group project or a group delivery or final delivery, and that happens at the end of your program. So that is the Masters of Public Health program that we offer. I want to also mention that we have an MSPH program. It is very much focused on the sort of delivery of a thesis, an original thesis research project. It is the only one of our 2 programs that requires a thesis. It is also a little bit different in that it's a longer program. It requires 48 credit hours. So not longer necessarily in time, but you have a little bit more work to do in that program. That MSPH program cohort is much smaller than our MPH cohort. We accept between 6 to 8 students in our MSPH program. And the reason for that is that we really mentor the students who are in that track because they are doing their own original research for their thesis, and so we make sure that they have enough mentorship in the program, so we don't keep that program too large. So that is the MSPH program. So one of the other things that is really important for you to know is that in our department, you are required by the end of your experience here to complete a practicum. Our practicum applies knowledge and skills that are acquired both through the coursework in a community-based environment. An ideal practicum should relate to both your academic and professional interests. They include well-defined competencies and learning objectives and process to track and evaluate student performance, competency achievement, and practical experiences. A practicum requires a primary supervision by a qualified field supervisor. That is generally in our field a public health practitioner who is qualified to evaluate the professional competency of the student. We have a really large number of practicums that are available. Our students have really exciting and unique practicum experiences. One of the great advantages that we have at Emory is that we are right next door to the CDC. We are literally across the street. And many of our students do their practicums at the CDC in various divisions within the agency. There are other nonprofit organizations here in the city, including the American Cancer Society, CARE, the Arthritis Foundation. There's many nonprofit organizations. There's also for-profit agencies and consulting firms that our students get opportunities to do their practicum. And some students do take, they may go back home during the summer if they want to go back or go to a specific state. So it really doesn't matter necessarily where you go, but that the practicum that you do relates to your health policy and management degree. Just to let you know about your practicum in terms of the requirements, you are required to have a minimum of 200 hours for your practicum under the supervision of an experienced field supervisor. Many of our students go well above that, and students can do up to 400 practicum hours. Some of our students split 1 or 2, of their practicum experiences. So you don't have to do your practicum in just one location or with one organization. You can sort of count your hours across 2 different experiences. But you do have to have someone that is sort of your field supervisor and you have to meet certain competencies of health policy and management. You do, what's important for you to know also, it seems a little bit maybe overwhelming given that you're in school, you have this capstone, you have a practicum, you will be assigned a practicum advisor that will meet with you starting in the spring semester of your first year. That is when you can start your practicum hours. So know that we don't sort of leave you on your own to find a practicum. You have an advisor who will meet with you regularly, give you some ideas of the opportunities you might have, whether here, in Atlanta or elsewhere. So the practicum is a really important part of your master's program because we really believe that it's important to get field experience, to apply what you're learning in the classroom to the outside world. And we really do believe that the best way to learn public health and health policy and management is this balance of the classroom as well also with sort of practical professional experience. Okay, so the next couple of slides we can go over pretty quickly, but we'll certainly answer any questions you have. And I don't know if we'll make sure that we give you enough information, but these are what we call our curriculum models. These describe the various master's programs that you can choose to apply for, but also the different tracks. As you recall, when I first talked, there as a MPH student, you can choose to be either on the health policy track or you can choose healthcare management. So I will hand it over to Kathy Wollenzine, our ADAP, to describe very briefly these different curriculum models.
Hello, everyone. Yes, as Sarah mentioned, we're going to go through 4 slides here rather quickly because I know you can read over. I'm not going to go over each one specifically, but the first one here is our MPH in healthcare management. All incoming students in their first fall semester, whether you're a policy or management track, will take the same courses in the fall semester. And at this time, because I have some students enter the program undecided, that we allow you to choose policy or management when you're pre-registering for your spring semester. So as you can see on the chart, what you do in the fall semester, everything in pink are required HPM classes. All the blue courses are core, and they are requirements, and you work with those. This is an exact picture of 42 credit hours. And students that want to take more, you can. We're on flat tuition fee. So the actual degree is 42 credits. Our average is around 50 credit hours per student that will tack on different electives, whether it be based on, you can take electives in HPM, in other departments, as well as business school, law school, and across campus. And so those lists will be provided upon entering the program. And also students are very interested in taking classes in other departments at Rollins, and that's allowed, or toward a certificate program as well. So that's a snapshot of the 2-year management track. And now on the next slide is the 12-month option. So this is exactly the same cost as the 2-year program. It's just tuition divided over 3 semesters as opposed to 4. So the pros and cons to the 12-month program are, and Anna will have her speak a little bit about it here in a moment, but it is compact. So you're here fall, spring, and summer, so that limits you to go elsewhere to do a practicum. So if you would choose to go to a different city or even abroad, that would not be a fit for the 12-month management option. So you would be doing a practicum here in Atlanta, which, as Sarah mentioned earlier, there's plenty of options. The one other thing is students, it does limit the amount of electives you can take because your schedule is full, fall, spring, and summer. However, classes in the summer right now are scheduled to be on Monday and Tuesday, so you have plenty of time to complete the practicum requirement of a minimum of 200 over Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You have 3 full days to actually work. And here is a chart that shows our policy track. This again, all incoming students take the first semester, and then if you choose policy, this has a stronger economic focus. So you can see in the spring where you move into economic evaluation, public finance, and then you have 2 capstones as well, one in the fall, one in the spring. And again, this is an exact picture of 42 credits, so you can add additional electives. But you can never go below 9 credit hours per semester to be held in full-time standing. And our next slide is what Sarah had mentioned earlier, our research track, which is the Masters of Science of Public Health. This is limited to 6 to 8 students, and this program is 48 credit hours, which a thesis as an end result. And again, electives are free to be chosen from our department, other departments, or even other schools across campus.
Okay. Hey guys, this is Anna Wegman. I'm a current MPH student set to graduate in August on the 12-month accelerated management track. Right now I'm taking my 2 capstone classes in strategy and operations management. I did my practicum at Sister Love, an organization in Atlanta that does advocacy and education around HIV in Black women in the area. Right now I'm working with Professor Blake on a research project for the summer with those 3 days that I have free to work aside from classes. I chose the 12-month accelerated track because I came into the program pretty sure about what I was passionate about in public health. I'm passionate about sexual health and women's health, and didn't feel like I needed those extra elective spots. Felt like I knew what I wanted to do and already had training in the other aspects aside from management skills. And it's pretty nice to do it, to be done after a year. I like Atlanta a lot, so I don't mind staying here for the summer. I didn't need to go abroad, any of that. So yeah, if you guys have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them.
And Anna, can you maybe talk a little bit about where you did undergrad, what you studied there, and if you came in directly or did you take any time off?
Yeah, so I went to Dickinson College in Pennsylvania for my undergrad. It's a small liberal arts school, and I'm one of those students who came in totally not from a management background, not pre-med. I was anthropology and gender studies in my undergraduate degree. And so that was really different. Yeah, I came straight from my undergrad as well. I graduated in May 2016 from Dickinson. And so it was an adjustment definitely first semester getting used to the management classes, but you get in the swing of things pretty quickly. And I would say a lot of students are getting used to a different kind of course load and a different type of class than they had in undergrad as well.
So now we'll just talk a little bit, because we know that you are sort of thinking down the line of where will I go with this degree. So we wanted just to give you an idea of some of the places that our students go. So as you can see on this slide, this is just a list from our MPH alumni. A good deal of our students decide to go to consulting firms. We have a number of them here in Georgia. We have a number of consulting firms that actually come to campus to recruit. PricewaterhouseCoopers is one of them. Deloitte and Touche, that's another one that you may be familiar with. And they're big recruiters for both our MPH as well as our MPH policy as well as our management students. We've had students who go to regional offices of the Government Accountability Office. The GAO is a nonpartisan agency that conducts a lot of healthcare-related evaluations, and our students have had really wonderful experiences both with practicums, but also finding full-time employment at the GAO. Humana, Kaiser Permanente, these are of course healthcare agencies, healthcare organizations I should say, that do regular recruitment also from Rollins, and that are looking for our students, particularly those that have health management, health IT interests and experiences. So we've had a number of successful placements with those organizations. Also, the Department of Health and Human Services, DHHS, which is the federal agency that oversees and funds a lot of our healthcare programs, Medicaid, Medicare, all of those. So some of our students have decided to go to DHHS, whether in DC or even local public health agencies, to do work that ranges anywhere from sort of straightforward data analysis to more program evaluation and programmatic work for those healthcare agencies. And then here, because we have Emory Healthcare, which is our broad system of healthcare that runs the hospital as well as our patient clinics, many of our students have gone on to work for Emory Healthcare and have decided to stay in Atlanta and have had really successful careers working within that healthcare organization. Our MSPH students, just as a reminder, many of those are students who've had a couple of years of work experience before they've come to Emory to get their Master's of Science of Public Health. Many of them are interested either in doing sort of higher level health services research or maybe on a path to an eventual PhD. So our students are doing a little bit higher level data analysis and have higher level quantitative abilities. We've had students who get placed in CMS, which is the agency, again, that oversees Medicare and Medicaid, working as higher level senior data analysts. We do have MSPH alumni that have gone on to do consulting work. We have had students that have been hired from the Georgia State Health Policy Center. This is a research group that works very much closely with our state public health and community health organizations doing data analysis support for those programs. And then just here for a couple of examples, we've had students who have gone on to PhD programs. One of our most recent students, Peter Liu, is, I believe, starting his second year at Harvard. So that's not listed here, but we have had students who've gone on to get their PhD at very well-known universities. And then, of course, Emory Healthcare as well.
And one more bit about employment. One of the best resources, I think, for students, for prospective students to see employment opportunities is on the Rollins website in the career section. Our career services office does a great job of surveying alumni a year after graduation. And they usually get something around a 93 and 95% return rate on these surveys. It's huge. And so we have that data in the career section of the website in what's called, I think it's called graduate survey, graduate employment survey. And it's a great way to see the past 5 years of data of where our graduates have gone and what they're doing. And it's broken down by department. So you can look and see what HPMers are doing, what behavioral science students are doing, what EPI students are doing. And these surveys are quite extensive. It lists how long it took, how many jobs they estimated they applied to, how long it took them to land their full-time job, what sector they're working in, whether it's government, private, nonprofit, the salary ranges, and then actual job title and agency that they're working for. So it's a really good way to get an idea of, to check that out and to see, are these job titles exciting? Is this something that kind of matches up with my ultimate career goals?
And then, so on this next slide, we wanted to make sure that you are aware of the opportunity to really specialize your studies here. We have a number of students who are really interested in very specific issues. Anna is an example of one who, I remember when she came to me about a year and a half ago and had an interest in not only healthcare management, but had come from a background of women's health and gender studies, and we know that students often have very similar interests and really specializing their experience, their graduate experience. So on this list, as a result of those interests, the university, Emory has, or Rollins has established these certificate programs that allow students to, again, specialize not only their sort of time here, but really specialize the coursework that they're doing. So they basically will enroll or apply for a certificate of one of these certificate programs and make, it basically then orients their coursework to these kind of fields. So here, as you can see, there's a certificate in Russian and East European Studies. We have a certificate in Health and Human Rights, a certificate in Faith and Health, Our certificate in mental health is actually organized here through HPM. Our Professor Ben Druss, who is our psychiatrist and runs the Center for Behavioral Studies, helps lead that certificate in mental health. We have a certificate in global complex humanitarian emergencies, which is a global perspective about emergency preparedness. We have a very popular program, many of our students take part, which is in the Certificate in Socio-Contextual Determinants of Health, a certificate that essentially addresses health disparities. And then the last one is important to mention, the Certificate in Maternal and Child Health. That is linked to our Excellence in Maternal and Child Health. We are a nationally recognized maternal and child health research center. That certificate program is a little bit different in that it's it's much smaller and it requires an application, and it is a very selective certificate program. About 20 students per year get accepted into that certificate program. It provides a lot of great opportunities not only for tailored coursework but also placement, field placements, and some scholarship funding as well. So all of these certificate programs, the link is here for you to learn more about them. Generally, these are certificate programs that you can apply for once you get to Emory. The only difference is, again, that maternal and child health certificate program. That one is one in which you have to indicate in your application to SOFIS that you're interested in that and that you're applying at the same time that you apply for the program here. Because that one actually will let you know before you enter whether you've been accepted into the program, and it requires, again, a little bit more information from you in terms of your interest. But these are great opportunities for you to really tailor your curriculum here as a student. And I think as we promised to be brief, and that's the end of our presentation. Here you have the information for both myself and for Kathy in case you have any questions after the webinar and would like to contact us. We're happy to answer any more questions that you have, and certainly right now we'll open it up for any Q&A.
So in the meantime, if you guys have any questions, if you're typing them in, maybe Anna could talk a little bit about just her general student life experience in Atlanta, like if you've been involved in anything here club-wise at Rollins, how you found housing, kind of things like that.
Sure. So I moved down here about a year ago now, after I graduated from undergrad. I wanted to come to Atlanta for the summer to work and get to know the city and kind of have a break before I started classes. And so then I worked for an organization that did career services for people living with disabilities. Did that for the summer. I joined a roller derby team when I got here as well, Atlanta Roller Girls. They're fantastic. They're really fun. So I do that 4 times a week, so that keeps me pretty busy. That's awesome. My main extracurricular, yeah. Yeah, they're great. So I'm doing that. In terms of housing, I moved to Campus Crossing, which is a good option for grad students. It's all grad student housing, and they lease beds individually, so you don't have to come in with a roommate. You don't have to find a roommate on your own. And that was a good option for me, not knowing the area, not knowing anyone here. But I recently just moved to East Atlanta Village, to a house there with a couple of different roommates. And that was more for the purpose of I'm only going to be at Emory for a couple more months. I don't have to be too close to campus anymore. I really like that area. It's a little more walkable, bikeable as well. I think that's about it for my extracurricular.
Thanks. Well, so we've got a couple of questions from Antoinette. So first up, she's asking, when are the majority of courses offered, and do many students work and attend the program?
Okay, this is Kathy. I'll answer that for you. The classes, so when are the majority of courses offered?
During the day.
During the day, I assume that's your question. So we have some classes are during the day, and then some classes happen to be in the evening. We will outline those classes when you get here, but most students work every semester that they're here, and usually around 10 to 12 hours. And so that way we encourage students working while they're in school in order to enhance their resume and be able to network and be able to experience different places so that you'll understand what may work out for a possible full-time hire, but in turn it just allows you to get exposure to apply what you're learning in the classroom and actually taking it to the workplace.
And I can't think of a single student that I know that's only going to school, rather as opposed to not doing some type of internship or their practicum during the semester or a real position. And to kind of fill you in on what that means, REAL is Rollins Earn and Learn, and it's basically a work-study program. And so that is where Rollins has partnered with about 100 different agencies across the city of Atlanta and a few outside of the city. We have some students that are able to telecommute for their real position. And in order to be eligible for REAL, you do have to fill out FAFSA. So the sooner you fill out FAFSA during the application cycle, the better. Those funds are more first come, first serve. So FAFSA always opens each year in October now. So if you're looking to apply for this coming fall, for fall of 17, which we're still accepting applications, so please feel free to do that. You would just want to go ahead and get FAFSA filled out as soon as you can to see if there's any funding still available. And if not, then you would be eligible to apply for that in your second year. But to be eligible to apply for REAL, you would just fill out FAFSA. And if you are awarded that as part of your financial aid package, you're then eligible to apply for our REAL jobs. And those are the jobs that those employers have created for this particular program. Students work generally about 10 to 20, generally about 15 hours a week. You can earn up to $2,500 a semester or $5,000 a year in the REAL program. And oftentimes those can turn into internships and practicums and maybe even a full-time position. Our REAL students are working at the CDC, at the Carter Center, at departments of public health across the city, at American Cancer Society, at a whole slew of different nonprofits that we've partnered with. Really, anything you're looking for, chances are there's a REAL position for it. And if you're not awarded REAL, that doesn't mean you can't work at all. Like, there's still so many students that are finding these opportunities. I think most of our students would say there's more opportunities than students, whether that's through REAL or through just finding them on your own.
And one thing to note, this is Dr. Blake, that even our faculty, if you're interested in working with faculty and doing research, often I get these questions of, do you hire our students? And I actually do. Anna is not a REAL student, but I've hired REAL students in the past. It all depends on sort of my funding. But I actually look first to HPM students because generally they're interested in the same kind of topics that I'm researching. So if you're interested in working with a professor, meet with them when you get here, talk with them even before you apply, ask them what kind of opportunities they have. It's a wonderful, I did this with my master's, I worked with a faculty member, and it was a great relationship and a great way to help me kind of forge my career in this field. So don't be afraid to reach out to faculty if you're interested in also working with them. Again, many of them, like I do, also hire REAL students.
And through that, a lot of our students are actually leaving the program as second authors on research papers, or getting the opportunity to go to conferences and do poster presentations. So they're leaving with a huge amount of experience under their belt that they may not get the opportunity to do at other institutions. So Antoinette's second question is, what are the scholarship opportunities? I'm happy if you want to start.
Well, I know all students are eligible for merit scholarship, and so that is just strictly based on merit, but then there's other opportunities that we provide, and I think Emily can go a little more in depth on that. But students, usually it's by the January 5th, so if you're applying for this year, there may be some funding still available, but most of it is, like if you're applying for next year, you would want to meet the merit scholarship deadline, which is around January 5th and 6th, in that area. And then as far as listing, we have stuff listed on our website for additional.
And that's through FAFSA. So you've got the merit base, which Kathy just mentioned, and you don't have to do anything additional to be eligible for that. It's just, we just take your application and make those awards based on that, based on your application alone. Like Kathy said, the application deadline to be considered for our merit-based awards is January 5th. So if you're looking to apply for this coming semester, merit awards are not available. However, if you're looking to apply for fall of 18, if you get it in by the January 5th deadline, you would be eligible for that. Outside of merit-based, we have some need-based, which that is done through FAFSA, and there still could be some funding available for that, specifically in the HPM department. So be sure that you get your FAFSA filled out in addition to your application, so that you can hopefully get matched up with that. If you are looking to apply for this coming fall, which like we mentioned, we're still accepting applications for that via the SOFIS website, and we can talk a little bit more of that momentarily. But the merit-based scholarships are quite competitive. We award about 40 a year, and then with REAL, which is part of, it's not necessarily a scholarship, but it's part of the financial aid package. We've got about 500 students in the REAL program at any given time, and then there's several other merit-based awards that we give out based on FAFSA as well. And I guess so we've addressed all the questions it looks like, and really I guess the last thing we want to mention is the application process itself, which is through SOFIS, the Schools of Public Health Application Service. It's like a central common app for most schools of public health in the states. You can submit all of your materials to that and then indicate which schools you'd like to apply to. So you're not having to submit multiple transcripts and multiple letters of rec. It can all kind of go to one system. Our application is open until July 15th. However, the sooner the better to get all that in, especially if you're having to make any life moves. If you're here in the Atlanta area, it's probably pretty easy, but if you're trying to move from somewhere else across the country, the sooner the better for that would be ideal. But we're happy to help you through that process. If you have any specific questions, we can help kind of navigate you through that. It's relatively simple, but there are some things that trip some students up. You would just need to have GRE or GMAT scores are acceptable, specifically for HPM, as well as maximum of 3 letters of recommendation, minimum of 2, your completed application, a personal statement, as well as a official transcripts from any schools you've attended. I'm sorry, I had a little brain fart on that one. And so once you get all those materials into SOFIS, your application would then be submitted to our office, where then it would be given to the HPM department for review. And then we would notify you of the admissions decision once we hear it from the HPM department. And another thing to mention really quickly is our dual degree program. We didn't really talk about that too much, but if you are currently a student at another Emory professional program, whether that's JD, MD, MBA, physical therapy, physician assistant, School of Nursing, we offer about 9 different dual degree programs. So if there's a professional program at Emory and you're already in it, you would be eligible to apply for our dual degree program, which basically you would just be here for a year, completing 32 credit hours. You would complete those and then go back to your home program to wrap up. So say for instance the MBA, you're in the MBA program for the first year, the MPH for the second year, and then for the last semester back over at the MBA program. For JD, it's similar. Years 1 and 2, you're in the law school. Year 3, you're with us, and year 4, you're back at the JD program. So those are some options as for you as well. And it's a relatively streamlined application. You still have to apply through SOFIS. And for the JD students, we would accept the LSAT scores as well. So I think that's it. Do you guys have anything to add?
No. Is there any other questions?
Yep, I think we wrapped up our questions. All right, well, thanks so much for joining us, everyone. We hope you have a great rest of the week and a great weekend, and please feel free to reach out. You can see we've got our contact information here on this last slide. So if you have any questions about the program, the application process, please feel free to reach out, and we're happy to help you along the way. Thanks, everyone.